Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree, for the Lord he wanted to see. You remember this fun children's song, don't you? You can sing along. But in our passage for today, Jesus makes his way to his final destination in Jerusalem. And along the way, he must pass through Jericho. There was a man there named Zacchaeus. He was the head taxman and quite rich. He wanted desperately to see Jesus, but he was a short man and couldn't see over the large crowd that surrounded Jesus as he walked through the city. So he ran ahead and climbed up in a sycamore tree so he could see Jesus when he came by. Zacchaeus was now in the tree waiting for Jesus to pass by so he could catch a glimpse. When Jesus got to the tree, he looked up and said, "Zacchaeus, hurry down. Today is the day that I come to your house." Zacchaeus scurried down from the tree, hardly believing what just happened, overcome with joy to welcome Jesus into his home. Everyone who saw the incident was indignant and grumbled, "What business does Jesus have cozying up with this crook?" Zacchaeus, flustered at the commotion now surrounding him, stood up and said, "Master, I give half my income to the poor, and if I have cheated anyone through my work, I pay back 4 times the damages." Jesus, looking at him, he said, "Today salvation has come to this house. Zacchaeus too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to find the lost and restore them." Did you catch Zacchaeus' response? "I give half my income to the poor. And if I have wronged or cheated anyone through my work, I will pay back 4 times the damages." The intriguing interpretive element here is the tense in which you translate didomai, give, and apodidomai, restore or give back, or pay back. Depending on how you may translate these verbs will help answer a crucial interpretive question that changes the dynamic of the story in its entirety. Is Zacchaeus' declaration in verse 8 a future action in response to Jesus and his visit? Or is it a report on his present behavior? "I give half my income," or "I will give half my income." For a cleaner and easier interpretation, we can submit to the former, describing future behavior. I mean, who doesn't love a repentant story that flows nicely from wicked background and a questionable career choice to a Jesus encounter, then to a changed behavior that Jesus acknowledges and affirms? This way of thinking we are accustomed to: repentance precedes forgiveness. Notice, though, that Zacchaeus neither confesses his sin nor repents. Unless you take his response in verse 8 as confessional. But Jesus doesn't commend his penitence or faith or even changed behavior. He simply blesses him. And this blessing is not because of anything Zacchaeus has done, but only because he is an Israelite, a son of Abraham, much like those who are grumbling around him. Further, Zacchaeus doesn't offer his financial response to anything Jesus has said. It's directed at the grumbling of the crowd. So I don't think it was an excited response to Jesus' presence, but directed at the crowd's complaint in defense of his own reputation. What are we to make of this? I believe it points to deeper meaning within the story. Not merely an actionable response to conversion, but this story is another illustration of Jesus' remarkable and unexpected ministry. Zacchaeus climbs a tree to see Jesus. This behavior would be considered a childish one and not one that would have been accepted as proper behavior for an adult. Yet he is desperate to see Jesus. So he humiliates himself before the crowd in order to see. And Jesus calls out to him. A childish tax collector way up in a sycamore tree is called by name. A tax collector, although rich, is despised and is an outcast. Jesus came to seek the lost and the least. Climbing that tree, Zacchaeus embraces his littleness and becomes least of these. Earlier in chapter 9, Jesus, teaching the disciples, illustrates kingdom greatness with a child. Whoever welcomes this child in my name welcomes me. And whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. For the least among all of you is the greatest. Zacchaeus, a humiliated man, too short in physical and moral stature to see over the crowd, a despised man, hated by many, friend to none, is honored and redeemed. It is precisely because he humbles himself like a child by climbing a tree that he is now in a position to welcome Jesus just 2 verses later. This story can be read as a promise that anyone, rich or poor, big or small, known or unknown, anyone who desires to see Jesus will. And in return, Jesus is already there, calling you by name, offering salvation. Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree, for the Lord he wanted to see. How might we see today? Because Zacchaeus saw and was seen and was redeemed.